We had planned on having, what's his name again? Oh, yeah, Matt Powell come on the show in the last couple of weeks, but he's not really made much of an attempt to get into contact with us. We set up a date, set up a time.
I don't think he really wants to, because I think he might realize we won't put up with his bullshit.
Yeah, and he does put out a lot of bullshit. So I'm going to play my trump card now, because I had this email that I really wanted to talk to him about, because somebody found our content. And instead of just having this languish in my email any longer, because I've had this in here for months waiting to get Matt Powell on the show to bring this up. Instead, I want everybody that catches this to, let him know on YouTube, or let him know via whatever social media he might be on, that, hey, he should really check out this video that the Utah Outcast made. I mean, sure, he'll find it because he'll search for himself like he always does. Anyway, this comes from Marge, and I've altered her name for their benefit. Mm-hmm. It says, hey, you all. Interested in the backlash of his nonsensical spewing, I have recently been exposed to your YouTube channel via Matt Powell searches. So she found us searching Matt Powell because he's gotten big recently. I enjoy your videos very much. You're quite clever and entertaining people. Oh, stop it, Marge.
Thank you.
So, now, on to the Matthew subject. Our family has known his family for many years. Not only have we spent much time with them, our kids were all very close, spending nights and sometimes a week at a time together. And this stopped about a year ago, right around the time he became this really crazy evangelical Christian guy. So a few weeks ago, and this was like in June, I think, when I got this email, Matt came to our home to eat dinner with us and spend time with our kids. And this was before the whole extermination of the gays speech and the doubling down on the genocide statements that he did. And she says, so dumb on his part, I have to say. You nailed it. He is a very dangerous young man. Her emphasis was very there. He is gaining quite a following here in Michigan because he is charismatic. Marge, I'm going to disagree with you there. He's not in the slightest bit charismatic to me, because he doesn't know how to orate. He doesn't know how to be a good orator, because he makes shit up on the fly, and he constantly gets super duper red in the face, and he's like, you know what I don't like? This thing I don't like. And it's
what
so
about this?
formulaic.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Well, what about this thing?
Use your words, dude. Like,
so
give us a thing.
He runs out of them. That's the problem.
Okay, so she says, by the way, the church in question is Bethany Bible Baptist on Oak Street in Durand, Michigan. And she says, info you should know. He is a young guy, has flitted from belief to belief in the past 5 years. Interesting about that. From his staunch Mrs. V, that's me, have you accepted Jesus into your heart and thought about your salvation question every week? And my answer was always, no, Matthew, because I'm a freaking Jew. To Messianism, to Judaism, throw in their atheism. I was for a while. And all of that encompasses all of these different belief systems, going to random parking lots and blowing the shofar, which is a Jewish tradition, and freaking people out, knocking on doors and spreading the good news. And she's like, ugh, about Jesus or Yeshua in Messianism when he was on that kick, wearing the talit or the talit. I'm not sure what it is. He wore Tallit. I don't know what that is. So the yarmulke, and hating Steve Anderson, who he now loves Steven Anderson because he's a hate preacher, and many other things, and then got back to the standard fundamentalist garbage that he is promoting along with the eradication of the gays. This is a long email, people. She wrote quite a bit about this. She has a lot to say about Matt Powell, and I hope he gets to hear it.
And it's worth listening to.
So, and let's not forget how he's gone out and preached all his life, ellipses, but yet was an atheist from the ages of 7 to 11. I guess he was preaching atheism at that time. That's not something they do, Marge. Bad Marge. He says that he's a peaceful and jovial guy, and he said that to me as well in the chats that I had with him. She goes, what the fuck? He has spat at, yelled at, and harassed mutual friends of ours, and has been brutal to others, physically shoving people and hitting a person's car who was trying to escape Matthew's, quote, righteous fury by damning his parents to hell, and when they were not following him, and telling me I was a witch because I don't believe in Jesus and have Muslim friends. Whatever, he's mental, and I cannot be mad at someone who has mental issues. No, you can absolutely be mad at people that have mental issues.
You can. It is
it is okay. And people
I
are
have
mad at her
PTSD.
all the time.
By the way, I have PTSD. Have I ever been cruel to either of you men?
No.
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 So-
I mean, not really. I mean, if we really want to get into it, I guess.
Oh,
Jesus,
let's get
Kyle,
into
come on.
No.
So she says he harasses anyone who is different and now is on an exceptionally scary path. He truly
no.
needs to be shut down. Sadly, his mom and dad follow this kid hook, line, and sinker into whatever he delves into. I cannot comprehend a parent who would support this behavior from their child. I wouldn't support this shit at all. Absolutely not.
Not one bit.
And she does say, if it were one of my kids, I would shut this garbage down so fast. And I, a few days ago, texted Matthew and told him not to contact any of my kids because my husband and I don't want his poison in our family. There is enough hate in the world, and I want my kids to love and respect people and make the world a better, more peaceful place. I guess fighting is the Christian way. Always fighting this and fighting that, fighting against anyone not like them. They are always at odds with anyone and everyone who won't accept what they promote. Preach, Marge, preach. We have always been very patient with Matthew and even tried to reason with him. And in the past, his parents, but this has gotten so out of hand. I cannot believe how many people are now following his hateful way of thinking. The whole God comes upon him and tells him to do this or that is a bunch of crap. God has come upon him evidently to accuse of many we know of trolling him, and they haven't. My kids addressed the atheist in the locker room story and called it shenanigans on it. Yeah, because remember we did the whole, he was talking about the veiny dicks in the
we
locker
did,
room.
He
yeah.
wasn't talking to an atheist. He
Uh-huh.
wasn't talking to
We
an
knew that was bullshit. So he says he has no atheist to produce yet, let alone the atheist community that has evidently seen the light of Matthew's ways. But there's one more piece of info, and I was waiting for this one. I thought you would love in light of your Flat Earth Australia video you did. So she watched a couple of ours. Great. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thank you.
Matt's dad, Steve, promotes himself as a creation scientist. Albeit self-proclaimed, of course, she wrote here.
Yeah,
And he's
that's
also-
not a thing.
He is also a flat earther.
I see.
Yes, indeed. His family supports the flat earth, and the whole Matt Powell thing just keeps getting better and better. Have a good weekend, she said.
Okay.
And this was written a couple of months ago, so thank you, Marge, for your wonderful fucking email. I'm sorry we didn't get to bring it up to him while he was on the show, but we're, after seeing Godless Engineer having some discussion with him, no, I don't think we're going to have him on because he's not interested in talking about actual topics.
No.
No, and I honestly was not interested in humanizing him, or I was going to push back on this. Anywho, sir. So he's interested in propaganda, and
He wants a cult. He wants people to praise him. He wants personality.
Yeah,
He wants to be a
that's-
cult of
that's what he
personality.
wants. Yeah.
But he's not charismatic enough for that.
no, he has no foundation in any of that. I honestly think this is somebody who is struggling and in a lot of pain and needs a fuck ton of therapy. And she talks about his father being into these conspiracy theories. I think my personal observation is that parents who delve into these things are also themselves quite unstable and needing of help. That being said, I have a policy that once the victim becomes the abuser, they are no longer sympathetic in my mind.
Nope.
My
You have to cut him loose at that point.
No, you do. My ex-husband was a victim himself. Does it remove my PTSD? No, it fucking doesn't. Nope. Still gotta live with that shit every goddamn day.
He still was the one that perpetuated that shit.
Exactly. And not every victim of abuse turns to these techniques. Now, in childhood, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. But Matt Powell is clearly following a toxic cycle. And I can empathize, and that is a lot harder for him to escape. But he is clearly seeking to victimize more and more and more people. And he is clearly trying to prop himself up as some sort of grandiose figure. And frankly, I find him despicable and disgusting, and I really don't care about his past at this point.
No.
He deserves no sympathy, and fuck that motherfucker.
Yeah,
Right,
any video that I've watched from him lately, and we've done some good ones with him in the past. As I've watched the ones recently, I'm like, this is boring. This is boring. We've done this one. We've done this one. It's like, he has no... When I say that he's not charismatic, he doesn't get anybody to give a shit about what he's saying unless they're interested in hearing what he has to say. And me, being the atheist guy looking for stuff to talk about and to rail against on the show here, usually I could find somebody like Jim Baker and Ken Ham and these guys that have stupid fucking points that they bring up, but at least they do it in a way that you could tell people are like, oh yeah, you're completely right about that. But I go and watch some of Matt Powell stuff and I just want to fall asleep because I'm like, nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares about what you're talking about that hasn't seen it a million fucking times before. You're not bringing anything fresh to the game there, Matt. You're just another in a long line of shitty, stupid preachers that decided you're going to make it on the internet by being a racist and fucking asshole-ish person. You're not going to go any further past a certain point, especially when the algorithm picks you up as somebody that spreads abuse. And when you're somebody that goes out there and says horrible shit, that's when flagging campaigns actually work against assholes like you, because there is evidence of you saying stuff like genocide against all gay people.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to last long on the internet. The internet is progressive.
He's becoming increasingly more unhinged in his rants and videos. Yeah,
he's clearly unwell.
He's unhappy. He's very fucking unhappy, and he's going to attribute all of the unhappiness onto an other instead of looking at what is making him unhappy in his life.
I hope, Matt, you take the time to realize the toxicity of your own beliefs and behaviors and decide that you're going to face that. I hope you have the courage to face
he's got a book. He's got a book, and that's what he's going to fall back on goddamn time.
He's got his book. But really, I mean, he's not going to self-examine when he comes crashing down, which is inevitable. Instead of self-reflecting, he is just going to look for something else to latch onto. He'll just move on to something else.
Yeah,
because I mean, clearly there's a
mental health issues.
Yeah, there's clearly a pattern of behavior here.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to be loved. And he's not going to get it from right-wing Christianity. You're not going to get it from there.
Hun, you have to go through like the deep, dark, scary part of yourself that is experiencing trauma.
That takes work, Felicia.
That takes a little bit of work, and unfortunately,
it takes work. I've not done that work. I have no idea what you're talking about.
And unfortunately, the days of reclusive cults is not, that's, at least in this country, it's becoming less and less of a viable.
Which is why I love our show here. I love our show here because somebody that's trying to look up Matt Powell and some of the stuff that he's talking about, possibly going, oh, Matt Powell, I heard about him. I want to see what he's preaching about. They're also going to see Utah Outcasts talking about Matt Powell. Mm-hmm. And he's going to come across things where we take it down line by fucking line. And they're going to be like, well, maybe he's not as smart as I once thought he was. That's the importance of having atheist outreach.
He's actually kind of an idiot.
He's banal. There's nothing that he says that I've not heard before.
Okay. Idiot's probably the wrong word. He's very, very ignorant.
He's mediocre.
Yes.
Oh, damn it. I don't have my soundboard up so quickly. I would have played mediocre right there. I'm sorry. I'm staring at the shitty picture of Ken Hovind over here. Otherwise, I would have had it. There we go. Mediocre.